This is 105.7 Hank FM. Greenup, Ashland, Portsmouth, USA. A Total Media Group station.
Swinging a high fly ball. They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Holy cow!
And there he goes!
It's time to step across the line with James Collier as he takes you inside the octagon of sports. With the latest from the world of sports with scores, interviews, and the hardest-hitting analysis in the business. Let's step into the octagon of sports.
Let's go!
With your host, James Collier.
And welcome inside the octagon here Across the Line on the Total Media Sports Network. James Collier, happy to have you along with us this morning as a lot of good football last night. It's hard to believe we've reached the halfway point of the regular season. It seems like we just started. And here we are, 5 games gone into the regular season. And the crazy thing last night, we were talking at the game, it felt like last night was July the 19th, not September the 19th. It was so hot. We were right at 90 yesterday, late afternoon, early evening. We were in the 80s with high humidity, very muggy conditions. I know at our game we had with Race on Newport Central Catholic last night, there were a lot of players for Newport Central Catholic that were dealing with cramping issues. You really find out about the teams that really prepare their bodies the proper way to deal with the type of stuff they did. I saw no cramping issues on the Race on sideline last night. I think we had probably about 7 stoppages in the second half alone with Newport Central Catholic having to deal with cramping issues. So, it's the little attention things to detail that makes a difference in teams that can make those deep runs and have to deal with situations that's going on. But it was certainly a good night for the Rams, and some teams last night really kind of sending some messages that, hey, we're still here too. Let's go through the scoreboard. We had one game Thursday night. Boyd County defeated Fairview 49-0. They had to play the game on Thursday night because the Healing Appalachia concert is going on last night and then today. And the number of emergency personnel they needed to be able to cover the event and then also be able to cover the football game, there weren't enough people. So in the process, what happens is they had to move the game to Thursday night. So Boyd County, no trouble whatsoever as they cruise on in. They're going to have their homecoming parade, and it's like a county fair event Tuesday night out at the field. And then we're going to do the Coach Evan Ferguson show live from the event. We're also going to carry the event live. So we're going to have the homecoming parade. We'll mix it all in with the Coach Evan Ferguson show and stuff. We'll make it just one big production, but we'll do that this Tuesday night. It'll start. The parade starts at 6:30, so we'll be on at 6:30 to bring you the parade. And then we'll mix in the Coach Evan Ferguson show and a lot of the other stuff that's going on there around the venue. But it should be a fun night out there in Cannonsburg. All right, scores from around the area from last night. Ashland, no problem with Russell. They put a running clock on the Red Devils to give them their first loss of the season, 42-0. It was sliding on down the list here. Hang on just a second. Let me flip to my other list. Raceland defeated Newport Central Catholic 56-27. It was Greenup over Fleming County 52-14. I will talk with Travis Jones, head coach for the Musketeers, in just a fefew moments. East Carter retains the barrel. A big win in Grayson over West Carter 41-14. Johnson Central and Pulaski County, man, they hung up crazy numbers last night. Johnson Central put up 50. Pulaski County added 30. But the Golden Eagles serve suit at home. They win it over Pulaski County by 20. Clay County hangs on for a 28-21 win over Rowan. Belfry takes Pikeville to the woodshed, 41-3. The Pirates win it at home. And then it was North Laurel blanking Lawrence County, 21-0. Real quickly, as we slide down the rest of the scores from last night, a few other games that was kind of note. One that I thought was very interesting was the Louisville Trinity and Male football game. Male had a brand new turf surface put in, and they were trying to get it in for their opener against Trinity. And as of Thursday, they were still putting the final touches on it. So they played there last night, but they didn't even get on the field until they literally took the field for pregame warmups. So it was a nice evening for Male. Unfortunately, they ran into the best team in the state in Trinity. They lost 46-0. Other games, Prestonsburg over Pike County Central, 44-14. It was Pineville over Morgan County, 30-12. Paintsville beats up on Frankfort, 50-6. It was Nicholas County over Bishop Brossard, 30-7. Newport beats Paris, 24-7. And then a really big game last night around Class A. It was Campbellsville knocking off Hazard, 21-18. All right, we are going to step out for a break. When we come back, Travis Jones, head coach for the Greenup County Musketeers, will join me. We'll break down their win and their season thus far as they roll into the halfway point of the season. That's as we continue here on Across the Line on the Total Media Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Kevin Anderson with First National Bank in Moorhead. From home, auto, and construction financing to refinancing options, we've got the tools to help move you forward. We also offer checking, savings, and full business banking solutions built to support you and your goals. Stop in to see us and let's talk about how we can help you. First National Bank, a tradition of value since 1902. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Temperatures are on the rise, and so is the bite, and Borders Sporting Goods is your fishing headquarters for rods and reels from G. Loomis, St. Croix, Fenwick, Lewes, Shimano, Daiwa, and Abu Garcia. No matter what species of fish you are targeting, Borders has the perfect setup to make your next trip on the water a success. Borders has baits in every size and style with a wide selection of tackle
a deer coming home
from
last
Berkeley,
night?
Strike King, Zoom, Z-Man, Bandit, and many more. Before hitting the water for your next fishing trip, stop by and stock up at Borders Sporting Goods, US 60 West.
Doing
in
damage
Ashland.
to the bus?
At Clark's Pump and Shop, we're not just a gas station. We're your neighbors.
We're the folks who support your child's sports teams. Fuel your mornings with fresh
That's
ground
funny.
coffee and have a friendly staff that probably knows the name of your dog.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
How far down
Tired
the
of
road
gas
were you
prices
when it
draining
hit
your
it?
wallet faster than your tank?
Download the Clark's Pump and Shop Rewards app. Earn discounts on gas, breakfast sandwiches, drinks, and more.
Fuel up, snack up, save up with Clark's Rewards. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Primary Plus is your home for quality, advanced, affordable health care, offering family health, OBGYN, counseling, dental, diabetes management, patient-centered medical home, school-based health services, and a pharmacy. Primary Plus also offers the COVID-19 vaccine. Primary Plus with locations in Ashland, Vanceburg, South Shore, Grayson, Tollsboro, Maysville, Flemingsburg, and now in Moorhead. Online, primaryplus.net. For quality, advanced, affordable health care, come to Primary Plus. Again, online, primaryplus.net.
This is Across the Line with James Collier on the Total Media Sports Network and 105.7 WLGC.
Back across the line we go. Let's go inside the octagon. Joining me now is the head coach for the Greenup County Musketeers, Travis Jones. Coach, good morning. How are you? Hey, thanks for joining us. A nice win for your team last night, and it's kind of been one of those deals. You had a good start of the season with the win over Pike County Central, and then some really good games that you just had some stuff slip away, but a good way last night to get a win on the road at a tough place when you go to Flemingsburg. All right, hang on just a second, Coach. I'm being told that we're having some issues with audio here, so. No, I think it's the stuff trying to get it back over to the station here. So, I'm not certain why that they're not getting it, but it should be going back across. But, yeah, not certain why it is not going back. All right, hang on just a second, Coach. We're going to step out for a break, and then we'll come back and try it here in just a second, okay? All right, stand by. We're going to step out for a break. We'll be back in just a second here on the Total Media Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Kevin Anderson with First National Bank in Moorhead. From home, auto, and construction financing to refinancing options, we've got the tools to help move you forward. We also offer checking, savings, and full business
you can
banking
hear me,
solutions
I
built
can't
to
hear
support
him
you
at
and
all.
your goals.
I
Stop
can't
in
hear
to see
him at
us
all.
and let's talk
Yeah, I
about
don't
how
know
we
either.
can help you. First National
I
Bank,
sure can't.
tradition
It was-
and values since
Somebody
1902.
texted me a
Member
minute ago and said that
FDIC,
when we were
equal
on
housing
break,
lender.
my audio was going out on break.
Clark's Pub and Shop,
No,
we're not just
no,
a
I've
gas
got you caught
station.
it
We're
down.
your neighbors.
We're the folks who
how they
support
heard
your
that.
child's sports teams. Fuel your mornings with
No,
fresh
it's
ground
not you,
coffee and have a
Travis. It's
friendly
not
staff
your
that
side.
probably
No,
knows
it's
the name
definitely-
of your dog.
Yeah, I can't
Clark's
hear
Pub
him
and
at
Shop.
all.
Return, refresh, refuel.
Tired of gas prices
I don't
draining your
know.
wallet faster
I don't
than
know
your
why you
tank?
should be going
Download the
out,
Clark's
'cause I
Pub
had
and
you
Shop
caught it
Rewards
down.
app.
I
Earn
didn't hear it
discounts on
here
gas,
Well, I mean, that's
breakfast
why I said I had
sandwiches,
somebody
drinks,
text
and
me and
more.
said that
Fuel
they.
up, snack up, save up with Clark's Rewards. Clark's Pump and Shop.
All right.
Return, refresh,
They said that they
refuel.
could hear me.
Temperatures are on the rise, and so
Are
is
you
the
there?
bite.
Are you there?
Borders Sporting Goods
Yeah.
is your fishing headquarters for rods and reels from G. Loomis,
Dwayne,
St.
you still
Croix,
there?
Finley,
Yes,
Luz,
yes.
Shimano, Daiwa,
Okay.
and Abu
You
Garcia.
can't hear Travis
No
though.
matter what
No.
species of fish you are targeting, Borders
Travis,
has the
talk for
perfect
me real
setup
quick.
to make your next trip on the water a success. Borders has baits in every size and style with a wide
understand
selection
it.
of
Yeah,
tackles
why
from
is-
Berkeley,
what is
Strike
going
King,
on?
Zoom, Z-Man, Bandit, and many more. Before hitting the water for your next fishing trip, stop by and stock up at Borders Sporting Goods, US 60 West in Ashland.
Primary Plus is a home for quality, advanced, affordable health care, offering family health,
All right, Coach, talk.
OBGYN, counseling, dental, diabetes management,
There we go.
patient-centered medical
There
home,
we
I don't know
go.
why that
school-based
didn't
health
work.
services,
All
and
right,
pharmacy.
but- all right.
Primary Plus
All right.
also offers the COVID-19 vaccine. Primary Plus with locations in Ashland, Vandsburg, South Shore, Grayson, Tollsboro, Maysville, Flemingsburg, and now in Moorhead. Online, primaryplus.net. For quality, advanced, affordable health care, come to Primary Plus. Again, online, primaryplus.net.
Your Tri-State weather forecast is brought to you by Perry Distributing in Ironton and Ashland, proud distributors of Budweiser and Bud Light.
This morning, we'll start with mostly sunny skies that'll continue the rest of the day with afternoon highs reaching 91. Moving into the evening, we'll see a few clouds move back into the area with lows settling near 63. And heading into Sunday, we'll see skies most
Sports scores, interviews, and more. This is Across the Line with James Collier on the Total Media Sports Network and 105.7 WLDC.
Back inside the octagon we go. Apologies for the technical issues. I think we've got everything squared away. Coach, are you with me now?
Yep, I'm here.
There we go. Coach Travis Jones from the Greenham County Musketeers joining us here on the show. Coach, a really nice win for you guys last night, and it was one of those deals that it's you had the nice win to start the season off, and then kind of stubbed your toes on a few games along the way, but then you got some things moving. But last night, a tough win on the road up in Flemingsburg.
Yeah, it was really big for us to go to Fleming County and get a win last night. Like you said, we were on a 3-game skid there where we played some pretty good teams, and really we had an opportunity to win the games. But, we're lying at 1-3 and making a trip to Fleming County, and that's always a tough place to play. I thought our guys really came out and played well.
What do you look at your team where you were? You again, a couple of bookended wins and those 3 losses there, and a tough one on that schedule there when you lost that game over at Portsmouth. A big game against East Carter. You guys got into a shootout there and came up on the losing effort. What have you taken away from those 5 that you've packaged in there to get the 2 wins in the mix of those 3 losses?
Really, our defense has played really well throughout the year. Our offense really struggled at the beginning of the year. Against Russell, we kind of turned it on in the second half, but then we fumbled the ball down inside the 10-yard line. And, when we get our defense or our offense rolling a little bit against East Carter, it's the one game we didn't perform very well defensively. So really just haven't been able to put all 3 facets of the game together yet, play well on all 3 sides, except for we were able to come out and do that last night for the first time.
You mentioned that Russell game. You guys really put yourself in a hole early, and you played from behind most of the game, and it was one of those deals that, you take the second half and put it in the first half, we're probably talking about a different outcome.
Yeah, we played terrible offensively in the first half against Russell. We go in, talk to our guys at halftime, change a couple things, and really performed well in the second half. We go inside the 10-yard line, fumble it, kind of killed our chances to come back and win, but it was our own fault by not playing a good first half. Let's
talk about last night, 52-14, you guys win it. Jasper Davis, 6 of 7, 123 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. He also leads you with rushing. It's no secret that it's kind of a prototypical common thing for a Greenup County Musketeer quarterback to be a dual-threat guy, especially after losing Mr. Salmons after a stellar career there in Greenup.
Yeah, when you lose a guy like Tyson, obviously you have to do some things differently. He was a guy that we were just going to line up and run, quarterback run, without it being a read or anything. If you play quarterback at Greenup County, you're going to be able to run the football, and Jasper's done a good job of that, but it's a little different, and we're throwing the ball a little bit more than we were. And we've just been kind of hit or miss, and just continue working to get better. We're just really inexperienced on offense.
Yeah, Jasper last night combines for 5 total touchdowns, 2 through the air, 3 on the ground. But he had some other guys that kind of kicked in. Or Eric Campbell, a big rush last night, a 58-yard touchdown run. Noah McCall put in 3 runs for 51. And then Archer Wireman, who's kind of been a guy in the backfield that you guys have leaned on some, he gets in the end zone as well. He throws touchdown passes to Nolan Clarkson and Casey Gammon. But what do you like what you've seen of the progression of Davis through these first 5 games?
It's been hit or miss. I thought he played really well against Pike County Central. Then we went through our 3-game skid there where really we weren't doing a good job up front. We kind of got beat up front and all, really against Russell and Portsmouth, and it put our quarterback in a bad position anytime we went through the ball. So, he's taking his lumps, but he's getting better every week and getting more confident. And really played well last night. He threw the 1 interception, but it actually went through our receiver's hands and got picked from behind. So he played almost perfect in the pass game last night.
When you look at the Portsmouth game, you guys go down there, you take an early lead, and then you give up 24 unanswered and lose 24-9. How much of a gut check moment was it for the team? And do you feel like that was kind of a defining moment for what this season could hold with the way that you guys turned things around in a losing effort the following week to East Carter and then getting back on the winning ways last night in Fleming?
Yeah, the Portsmouth game was really big for us, and we didn't practice well leading up to that week, and really we didn't practice well leading up to Russell, and that's kind of been our emphasis with such a young team is we have to work on making sure we're getting better Monday through Thursday, and then Friday goes a lot better when you prepare well throughout the week. So we go out against Portsmouth, and our offense is awful. I mean, we had 1 long run, but it was bad. Everything was. We were not blocking well. We weren't hitting the correct holes when we were running it. We threw the ball bad. And, it was kind of, talk to him after the games. If we want to start having success on Fridays, we got to start practicing better. And really, I think that, we practiced way better since that moment, and our offense has scored. And since we only scored 9 against Portsmouth, we scored 35 against East and 52 last night. So our guys are getting a little bit better.
How much do you put into the fact of you graduated a lot of pieces on that offensive unit from last year of just guys trying to figure out what their role actually is to step in that varsity starting position now?
Yeah, we were kind of dealt a bad hand at the beginning of the year. We had a senior running back. I thought, he had a really good offseason. He's the leader of our offense, really, from the running back position, him and Jasper, and he tore his patellar tendon in our first scrimmage, and we got in a situation where we really ended up moving. You talked about Asher Wireman. He was playing slot receiver for us. We had to move him to running back. So, and with an already young team, it put us in not very good spot skill-wise. But we're getting better every week, and Asher's done a really good job stepping in there running back.
You start district play coming up this week. You get 2 district games, and then your bye week there in between, and then Johnson Central and Round County on the back end of that. But Ashland Boyd County the next 2 weeks on the road. How big was this to get a victory and not go into district play on a 4-game losing streak?
It was huge. That's what we talked about all week. We need to get back and win them ways, get a little confidence about ourselves heading into the meat of the schedule. We're going to go play a really good Ashland team at their place. Make sure we're getting better every day in practice, and we'll go compete against Ashland. And then, like I said, Boyd County is always a game that we're trying to win every year. So
when you look
looking forward to our guys getting better.
I'll say you look at your district. I mean, it's no secret. It's one of the toughest districts in this entire state. Ashland, Boyd County, Johnson Central, Rowan County. And you look at what Johnson Central's doing. I mean, they're beating up on people and making it look easy right now. But like you mentioned, Ashland had a lot of pieces of the puzzle offensively that were gone from last year, and they feel like that they found something. And, of course, that line up front has done a really good job of getting those open holes. But Cam Davis is a kid that you give him the slightest little bit of daylight, and he's going to take it to the house.
I think Cam Davis has been one of the best players in this area for the last 2 to 3 years. He's a heck of an athlete, and Ashland's always so good up front on the offense and defense line. So it'll be a challenge for our guys. It'll be the best team that we've played, and just hopefully come out and compete well against them.
You look at your district, and you understand that obviously it's looking up at Ashland and Johnson Central, and you want to be in one of those top 2 spots to get a home playoff game. But how big would it be if you could find a way to sneak out a win against an Ashland or a Johnson Central to put yourself in that conversation?
You know, we've had some success over the last couple of years, like an Ashland or a Johnson Central, and that's just stuff we're striving to beat those schools with that have just such a good football tradition. Like you said, they're some of the top teams in the state. 4A is brutal, and our district is one of the best districts in 4A. So it's just pushing our guys to try to step up our program to meet those guys.
You know, a crazy moment for you guys on the way home last night. Everybody was safe and okay, though, but you had an extra visitor that tried to get on the bus, and unfortunately the bus was rolling down the road. You got hit by a deer coming home last night. We were talking in the break. It wasn't that you guys hit the deer hit you.
Yeah, we were just driving down the road on the double A. We're about 30 minutes from home, and I'm sitting in that front right seat right by the driver's door, the bus door, and deer just runs right into the side of us. Really didn't even see it at all, other than we hear a big crash of the deer breaking the glass. So that was a pretty fun experience.
Always a fun moment when you head up and down the double A for certain.
Oh yeah.
Coach, when you look at the momentum that you build coming off of a win, what do you expect to see for your team this week as you go in to start preparing for those district games? The preparation, the kind of the pep and the step. Do you feel like that it's going to bring that surge back that you really need to get into this point?
Well, like you said, like I talked about earlier, we struggled practicing well, and we're finally starting to practice better, and we're seeing better results. So really, you go out and have a good week of practice and then perform like we did on Friday. It shows our guys how important it is for us to have a good Monday through Thursday. So that's what we're looking to build on and just continue to get better throughout the week and go have some fun on Fridays.
All right, Coach, greatly appreciate the time. Best of luck the rest of the season. We'll try to catch up with you toward the end part of the season before you guys get into postseason play.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Greenup County head coach Travis Jones joining us here on the program. We greatly appreciate his time, and best wishes to the Musketeers the rest of the way down the stretch. All right, let's jump over to Major League Baseball as we've got this weekend and all of next week to get through the postseason before we get into postseason play. And it's going to be one of those deals of who can make that final surge to get in or not. And we've got some teams that's trying to shake some stuff up. This wild card race is going to get crazy down the stretch, and it's going to be interesting to see what is going to happen. Could we even have a division that we thought was a runaway that we could end up with a different division winner? That is a possibility. We've got some teams that are really trying to falter down the stretch, and another team that's trying to make a list. So let's take a look at last night's games. It was the Red Sox over the Rays, 11-7. Garrett Crochet picks up his 17th win of the season with a 2.69 ERA. The Red Sox kind of found their ways in the 7th and 8th inning. They combined for 9 of their 11 runs. They were trailing 3-2 in this ballgame, and then to get the 2 runs in the 7th to go ahead 4-3. They give up 4 runs in the 9th. That's what brought the game closer than it was. But either way, a much-needed game for the Red Sox there as they're trying to stay in the mix of that crowded wild card race in the American League. The Reds get a much-needed win over the Cubs, 7-4 last night up at Great American. So the Reds they cannot afford to give up any games. They have the Cubs this weekend. They've got Pittsburgh in 3 games. That'll close out the home series. And then they go to Milwaukee to close out the season. So they have to get every possible win they can, and they need help to get in. Athletics over the Pirates 4-3. Braves beat up on the Tigers 10-1. That one's going to be one that we'll talk about in a second. But the Tigers are a team that are coming apart at the seams. And there's a team that's trying to chase them down in the process of doing so. Orioles over the Yankees 4-2. That's a big win for the Boston Red Sox to get one back on the Yankees there in the American League East, as Toronto still sits at the top. Everybody's chasing them down. But, man, the Toronto Blue Jays got blasted last night. 20-1 to the Kansas City Royals. The Blue Jays put out only 3 hits. Kansas City hammered out 27 hits in the win. Max Scherzer got tagged for the loss. He picks up his 4th loss of the season. But one of the best teams in baseball right now give up 20 runs. That's how crazy Major League Baseball can be. It's one of those things. I've never seen it like that before. The crazy part is the Blue Jays will probably come back today and beat the Royals by 12. That's just baseball. That's one of the things that happen. Mets over the Nationals 12-6. Mets need a big win there. They cannot afford to falter down the stretch either. White Sox over the Padres 4-3. It was the Marlins outlasting the Rangers in 12. It was 6-4. Rockies over the Angels 7-6. It was the Mariners beating the Astros 4-0. Guardians over the Twins 6-2. The Cardinals beat the Brewers 7-1. That's a big for obviously there and stuff like that. The Phillies over the D-backs 8-2, and the Dodgers over the Giants 6-3. All right, here's where we stand at the moment in the first off, the division standings, and then we'll look at the wild card standings. So, first off, for the regular season, the American League East, the Toronto Blue Jays have a 3-game lead over the Yankees. The Red Sox are 5 back. The Blue Jays have lost 3 consecutive, though. They've gone 6 of their last 10. Down in the Central, the Tigers lead the Guardians by only 2.5 games. Don't forget, the Detroit Tigers had between an 8 to 10 game lead much of the season. And I was like, at the rate they're going, they may run away with this thing by the early part of September. Well, they've lost 4 consecutive. The Guardians have won 8 in a row, 9 of their last 10. And in the process, they've got themselves not only in the conversation for the wild card, but they've also got themselves in the conversation for the American League Central. Kansas City, they're out of the conversation. They're 8 games back at an even 77-77. The Seattle Mariners have surged ahead again. They've won 9 of their last 10. They have now a 1-game lead over the Houston Astros for the American League West. The Texas Rangers clawing at everything they can, but the problem is they've lost 5 consecutive, and I pretty much say we can write them off at this point. In the National League East, the Philadelphia Phillies are the National League East champions. They've got a 12-game lead over the New York Mets. The Brewers and the Cubs have both clinched playoff spots. The division is not decided yet, but it's getting very close. The Cubs 6 games off the pace, but they've won 7 of the last 10, but the Brewers only need a couple of wins, and they'll have this thing locked up. They'll probably a couple of wins this weekend. They can finish things out. Either a win by the Brewers and a loss by the Cubs. That would do it and finish things out there. Dodgers have clinched the playoff spot in the West. They have not clinched the division, although they do have a 4-game lead over the San Diego Padres, who have lost 2. The Dodgers have won 3 consecutive. And then, of course, the Cincinnati Reds, can they find some magic in a bottle? They're 2 games out of that final wild card spot, and we'll see how things play out. Okay, here's where it would be right now. If we started the postseason, you'd have the Toronto Blue Jays as the 1, the Detroit Tigers as the 2, and the Seattle Mariners as the 3. That's your 3 division winners. The Yankees are the 4. The Red Sox and the Astros are the 5 and 6. They are virtually tied at 84 and 70. The Red Sox get I believe they've got the tiebreaker in that, I mean, because of the way they've got them listed at the moment on the standings here. So that would still put Seattle playing Houston in a 3-game series in Seattle, and the Red Sox would go to the Bronx to play the Yankees in a 3-game series. Then the lowest, I guess we say the lowest remaining seed would go to Toronto, and the other seed would go to Detroit. Now, the Cleveland Guardians are a game and a half out of that final wild card spot behind the Red Sox and the Astros. And I'm going to stay at 7 teams right now as we push in to next weekend. And then we'll look at next weekend to see what we've got. But could we be looking at a different team in the American League East, or American League Central, when we get into that spot next week? It's a possibility. I have not, it's not far-fetched to say, with the way the Guardians have heated up and the way the Tigers have cooled off, this thing could happen. But it's a 17 race down for 6 possible spots in the end. In the National League, the Milwaukee Brewers have had a sizable lead on the best record in baseball for much of the run in the second half of the season. The Philadelphia Phillies has closed that gap. They've won 8 of the last 10. They're now only 2 games behind Milwaukee for that number 1 seed in the National League. The Dodgers are your 3. Then the wild card will be the Cubs, Padres, and Mets. The Reds are 2 back, Arizona 3 back, San Francisco 4 back. And San Francisco, after making that surge to get into they were in the postseason picture at the end of last week, now they've fallen out. I've been at 6 for almost a month and a half now, and I'm going to stick my guns. I'm not going away from it. I think the 6 that are in, these are the same 6 that I've had in for over a month and a half, and I don't think it's going to falter anyway. So as it would play out right now, the Dodgers would entertain the Mets in a 3-game series. The Cubs would entertain the San Diego Padres in a 3-game series. Lowest remaining seed would go to Milwaukee, and then the other seed would go to Philadelphia. Sorry, Reds fans. I just don't feel like they've got enough because, again, you've got the Cubs that you've got to get past this weekend. The Pirates have always been a thorn in your side, and then you got to go to Milwaukee for 3. And again, you've got to look up and hope that the Mets do something in the front of you to kind of give you a little bit of run there. The Mets are in the midst of a 3-game series with the Nationals. They need a sweep in that series. Then they're on the road at the Cubs, and then they finish out with the Marlins to close out their regular season campaign. So we'll see how things play out, but it's going to be a fun last week of the regular season after we get through this weekend. All right, we'll step out for a break. We come back, we'll dial in some football as we go over to NCAA and the NFL. That's as we continue our coverage here on Across the Line on the Total Media Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Kevin Anderson with First National Bank in Moorhead. From home, business banking solutions built to support you and your goals. Stop in to see us and let's talk about how we can help you. First National Bank, a tradition of value since 1902. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Temperatures are on the rise, and so is the bite, and Borders Sporting Goods is your fishing headquarters for rods and reels from G. Loomis, St. Croix, Fenwick, Lewis, Shimano, Daiwa, and Abu Garcia. No matter what species of fish you are targeting, Borders has the perfect setup to make your next trip on the water a success. Borders has baits in every size and style with a wide selection of tackle from Berkley, Strike King, Zoom, Z-Man, Bandit, and many more. Before hitting the water for your next fishing trip, stop by and stock up at Borders Sporting Goods, US 60 West in Ashland.
At Clark's Pump and Shop, we're not just a gas station, we're your neighbors.
We're the folks who support your child's sports teams. Fuel your mornings with fresh ground coffee and have a friendly staff that probably knows the name of your dog.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Tired of gas prices draining your wallet faster than your tank?
Download the Clark's Pump and Shop Rewards app. Earn discounts on gas, breakfast sandwiches, drinks, and more.
Fuel up, snack up, save up with Clark's Rewards. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Primary Plus is your home for quality, advanced, affordable health care, offering family health, OBGYN, counseling, dental, diabetes management, patient-centered medical home, school-based health services, and a pharmacy. Primary Plus also offers the COVID-19 vaccine. Primary Plus with locations in Ashland, Vandsburg, South Shore, Grayson, Tollsboro, Maysville, Flemingsburg, and now in Moorhead. Online, primaryplus.net. For quality, advanced, affordable health care, come to Primary Plus. Again, online, primaryplus.net.
Kicking off your sports Saturday with Across the Line, right here on the Total Media Sports Network at 105.7 WLGC.
Back inside the Octagon on Across the Line on the Total Media Sports Network. James Collier, happy to have you along with us here this morning. Beautiful Saturday it's going to be. Next couple of days going to be hot again, and then it's supposed to cool off a little bit. Next week's maybe some rain that will finally show up. God knows we could use some rain. It has been like the Sahara Desert outside, to say the least. And it's crazy how we had much of August there at the end was more like October. And now we're at the latter part of September, and it's felt like July. But either way, I think we are going to have another crazy winter. I've just got the feeling of the way the trees have already started looking and the way things have sized up. I think we're going to be settled in for what's going to be another wild ride this winter when we get to it. All right, let's dive into football as we've got some good games on Top 25 today. And then the NFL already had a great game Thursday night, Buffalo, Miami. And again, I didn't think that was going to be much of a game, honestly, because the Dolphins have just not been much, to say the least. You know, they took a tough loss last week at home against the Patriots. The Patriots never win in Miami, ever. And they found a way to win there at the end. And then you bring in, you go to Buffalo, and, I mean, it was a ball game there until the fourth quarter. I mean, it was a ball game, and it was a fun game to be a part of. So we'll take a look at it and see how things go as that. But let's start first with college football. We start things off with a top 25 matchup today at noon up in Salt Lake City, number 17 Texas Tech at number 16 Utah. Both teams at 3-0. Both teams opening their Big 12 play today in this matchup. At 12:45 today, UAB heads to number 15 Tennessee down at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. The Vols coming off the tough loss against Georgia. You know, I talked about this last week, and I said Tennessee had an opportunity to show that, hey, we're supposed to be at the big boy table. And they had an opportunity to go sit at the big boy table. They had a chance to hit the game-winning field goal in regulation to win it. And they didn't. I mean, the guy who missed the field goal, it wasn't even close. But it's one of those deals of Georgia got it into overtime, and they took care of business. And that's what good teams do. And teams that want to be in that same conversation, you have to go back and look at it and say, okay, we have to figure things out of how we make that next step forward. And that's where Tennessee is. Tennessee 15th in the nation. I think they are a potential playoff team. I think they'll have a good run in the SEC. Looking at their upcoming schedule, they go to Mississippi State next week. Then they've got Arkansas, at Alabama, at Kentucky, then they bring Oklahoma in town. They've got New Mexico State in between the matchup between Oklahoma and Florida, and then it'll close things off against Vanderbilt, who is all of a sudden trying to become a perennial favorite of getting out of that basically that cellar-dweller whipping post of a team that everybody knew in the SEC, and now they're trying to make themselves as a team that is known in the SEC. And what a win they got last week over South Carolina. But Tennessee, they have the potential. Can they find the execution? That's the big question down the stretch. At 3 today, it's a matchup of the state of Oregon. Oregon State goes to Eugene and the 6th-ranked Ducks. Oregon State 0-3, Oregon at 3-0. I think this Oregon team is legit this year. The question is, what are they going to be able to do against the big boys in the Big Ten? Can they go to the shoot? Can they get a game or win over the big teams there, and they're going to find out next week. They go to Penn State, who's ranked second in the nation right now. Then they turn around and welcome in Indiana. They do not play Ohio State this year. They've got their last games of the regular season, currently ranked 25th in the nation, USC, and then they go to Washington. So Penn State, Indiana, the next 2 weeks, and those are going to be big ones. But that game next week with Penn State, you're going to find a lot out about both of those teams, Penn State and Oregon. But I think Oregon's legit. I don't know that they can go to Penn State, though, and get a victory. That's going to be a tough place. I guarantee you that place will be a whiteout. It's a 7:30 kick. That place will be electric next week, but it's going to be a fun game to watch, to say the least. Florida State, all of a sudden, they went from a laughing stock of a team to now they're ranked 7th in the nation. What a turnaround they have had in just a season, it seems like. But Mike Norvell has his team really playing well. They've got Kent State coming in today at 3:30 down in Tallahassee. A really good game today at 3:30. Number 22 Auburn goes to Norman and the 11th ranked Boomer Sooners. SEC matchup between a pair of 3-0 teams. This one should be a dandy. Oklahoma's 7.5-point favorite in this one. I think this one's going to be a really good football game, but I think Oklahoma certainly has the upper hand in this one and should win this one no problem. Tulane travels to 13th ranked Ole Miss down in Oxford today. It's number 21 Michigan at Nebraska. Michigan 2-1, Nebraska 3-0. This is an opportunity for Nebraska to say, hey, we're back. They feel like that they are back. The question is, are they really? And they're favored in this game, a 1.5 favorite over a ranked opponent. So the question is, can Michigan and Bryce Underwood go on the road to Nebraska and prove to Nebraska, hey, you're really not back yet? But this one will be a good one today at 3:30. Purdue goes to 24th ranked Notre Dame, who is still ranked in the top 25 and is yet to win a game. They're 0-2. And I will say it today, on September the 20th, there is no way that Notre Dame should ever be in a conversational piece to make the college football playoffs this year. But you mark my word, barring that they don't lose any more games down the stretch, Notre Dame will find a way to get in that conversation. Here's who they have. After this week, they go to Arkansas. They bring Boise State in, North Carolina State in. They've got their matchup against USC. They go to Boston College. They play Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, and they'll close things off at Stanford. That's not a schedule that I would say is favorable to be that sex appeal that you need in the eyes of the voting committee to get yourself in the conversation. But again, all you have to have really is that great big ND on the side of your name, and it gets you that, excuse me, I should be here anyways kind of piece. There is no way Notre Dame should be in the conversation of the playoffs this year. No chance whatsoever. And I feel like that if they win out, they will have a seat at the table somehow that they'll sneak in. 18th ranked Georgia Tech welcomes in Temple today at 4:30. I think this was an upset special in the making, and tonight at 7. And you got a team that looked like they were going to become at one of those bigger seats at the table in the SEC in South Carolina. And then last week they got train wrecked by Vanderbilt at home. Now they go to 23rd ranked Missouri, who is 3-0. Missouri's a 10.5-point favorite in this one. If South Carolina is going to show that, hey, we are the team that we thought we were, little Dennis Green right there, they've got to get a victory here. I think this is a must-win game for South Carolina. And especially, you don't want to start the season at 0-2. If Shane Beamer's team thinks they are who they think they are, they have to beat Mizzou today. And that's going to be a tall task. This one is a game I'm looking forward to keeping up with tonight. I think it's going to be a phenomenal ball game. Another battle for Florida. They go to the 4th-ranked Miami Hurricane. Miami looks solid. Carson Beck has been huge. 812 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. How much difference can moving from one program to another make a guy? Well, I'm telling you, Carson Beck leaving Georgia and going to Miami has made a world of difference. Now, I think the other side of it is he's healthy, and that makes a huge play too. But Miami, they are one of the favorites that we will be talking about playing for a national championship this year. That team is phenomenal. And Mario Cristobal has his team playing phenomenal football. Florida, a 7.5-point dog in this one. I think Miami wins by 2 scores. A good matchup tonight up in Bloomington. Number 9, Illinois. Number 19, Indiana. Indiana, a 6.5-point favorite. Let's see. Hang on. They've got IU here, which really doesn't. You could have Illinois or Indiana. I think Illinois is actually the favorite here. But I think Illinois wins this football game. This is another big matchup for Indiana to show, yep, we are that team that we tried to say that we were last year. Both teams 3-0. This will be their Big Ten opener. Tonight at 7:30, you can catch a game on Peacock. Georgia State goes to number 20, Vanderbilt, who sit at 3-0 after the big win last week over South Carolina. Number 3, LSU. They've got Southeast Louisiana coming in at 7:45. 48.5 points is the line for LSU tonight. I'm going to take the points at SC Louisiana. I don't think LSU can cover in this one. That they will. We'll see. But that game tonight at 7:45. Tonight at 8, Sam Houston is 8th-ranked Texas. Texas a 39.5-point favorite. And then Michigan State goes to 25th-ranked USC tonight at 11 out in L.A. All right, NFL football. Dolphins fall to the Bills 31-21. It was a 14-14 ball game at the break. Buffalo gets a third-quarter touchdown as the Dolphins fail to score in the frame, and then Buffalo outscores the Dolphins in the fourth quarter, 10-7, and win at 31-21. Josh Allen, 22 of 28, 213 yards, 3 touchdowns. James Cook, 19 carries, 108 yards, and a score. Dalton Kincaid, 5 catches and 66 for the Buffalo Bills, who sit at 3-0, and a nice win on Thursday Night Football. All right, games this weekend in the 1 o'clock hour. The Steelers head to the Patriots. Pittsburgh favored in this game by 2.5 points. We'll see how the Patriots look. Their defense looks abysmal, especially in the back end. And when you've got a guy like Aaron Rodgers coming in who can throw it across the field, he can throw it all over the field if he wants to. When you've got a secondary that doesn't look like it could stop a piece of wet paper towel in a rainstorm, that's concerning. On the other side, Aaron Rodgers has also shown that he has trouble throwing it to the correct team. Let's hope, as being a Patriots fan, that's the case. I like the Patriots offense. I think they've got some things going. Drake May still needs to show me a little bit more. I don't think he's quite there yet. Obviously this is sophomore season. I still think he has a little bit more to show. But I like what he is doing so far. Kayshon Boutte has really looked the part for the Patriots. I think he's going to be a stellar player for them. Travion Henderson, I think he's going to be the next big thing in the running back room for the Patriots. But this one should be a good game that kicks off tomorrow at 1. Packers are at the Browns. Colts at the Titans. Bengals at the Vikings. We're going to have a pair of backup quarterbacks playing in this one simply because both quarterbacks are out. Joe Burrow's probably done for the season. The toe injury will require surgery. He's out for at least 3 months. So barring no setbacks, that's putting him back probably week 15, 16, somewhere in there. And for Cincinnati, hopefully that they're still in the postseason conversation if Jake Brennan can take care of things and keep them at least in that conversation. The good thing is that they've staked themselves a 2-0 start this year. They're not an 0-2. So that's big for Cincinnati Bengals fans. But playing at US Bank Stadium up in Minneapolis, that's a tough place to go against the 12th man, essentially the Purple People Eaters. But Bengals have got to figure out a way to make this one a 3-0 start. Rams-Eagles, I think this is a really nice showdown in the NFC of, I think, what could be a potential maybe NFC championship game. Matt Stafford, so far, looks okay with that back issue. Saquon Barkley last week has been the part. The big thing with the Eagles is they're not throwing the football. A.J. Brown has been pretty much non-existent. Devontae Smith has been there, okay. But, the Eagles on the backside, they're 2-0. A nice win over the Kansas City Chiefs last week. the Eagles are a team I think that we just kind of look at and say, hey, we need to see this. And they're just like, man, we'll just do it how we want to do it. It may be boring, but hey, we're going to win football games. Jets at the Buccaneers, Raiders, Commanders, Falcons, and Panthers. Rounding out the 1 o'clock hour is the Texans at the Jaguars. 4:05 game, Broncos, Chargers in San Diego, or in Inglewood, I should say. That'll be a good one there. Saints at the Seahawks at 4:25, Cowboys at the Bears, Cardinals, 49ers. Sunday Night Football, and this one will be able to get us in bed early. Chiefs will play the Giants in a pair of 0-2 teams. A great game bounces back for us on Monday night, though. We get the Lions at the Ravens. That one should be a really good battle. In what could, you may look at it and say, that could be a Super Bowl preview right there between two of the top teams in the NFL. All right, we take our final break. We come back. It's the Borders Sporting Goods Rant of the Week. You got to be smarter than a monkey to pull this one off. We'll talk about it when we return after this, here on Across the Line on the Total Media Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Kevin Anderson with First National Bank in Moorhead. From home, auto, and construction financing to refinancing options, we've got the tools to help move you forward. We also offer checking, savings, and full business banking solutions built to support you and your goals. Stop in to see us and let's talk about how we can help you. First National Bank, a tradition of value since 1902. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Clark's Pump and Shop, we're not just a gas station, we're your neighbors.
We're the folks who support your child's sports teams. Fuel your mornings with fresh ground coffee and have a friendly staff that probably knows the name of your dog.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Tired of gas prices draining your wallet faster than your tank?
Download the Clark's Pump and Shop Rewards app. Earn discounts on gas, breakfast sandwiches, drinks, and more.
Fuel up, snack up, save up with Clark's Rewards. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Temperatures are on the rise, and so is the bite, and Borders Sporting Goods is your fishing headquarters for rods and reels from G. Loomis, St. Croix, Fenwick, Lewes, Shimano, Daiwa, and Abu Garcia. No matter what species of fish you are targeting, Borders has the perfect setup to make your next trip on the water a success. Borders has baits in every size and style with a wide selection of tackle from Berkley, Strike King, Zoom, Z-Man, Bandit, and many more. Before hitting the water for your next fishing trip, stop by and stock up at Borders Sporting Goods, US 60 West in Ashland.
Primary Plus is your home for quality, advanced, affordable health care, offering family health, OBGYN, counseling, dental, diabetes management, patient-centered medical home, school-based health services, and a pharmacy. Primary Plus also offers the COVID-19 vaccine. Primary Plus with locations in Ashland, Vanceburg, South Shore, Grayson, Tollsboro, Maysville, Flemingsburg, and now in Moorhead. Online, primaryplus.net. For quality, advanced, affordable health care, come to Primary Plus. Again, online, primaryplus.net.
Fox News, I'm Paul Stevens. The U.S. military carrying out another fatal strike against an alleged drug smuggling vessel at sea.
President Trump taking to Truth Social to say on his orders, U.S. forces carried out a strike targeting a ship affiliated with a designated terrorist organization found to be trafficking illicit narcotics, killing at least 3 men on board.
And that's Fox's Kristen Goodwin. Protests continued into the evening last night, Friday, outside of an ICE detention facility in Chicago.
Demonstrators have every now and then gone up to the driveway of this facility. They've been yelling at the ICE agents on the roof. And in response, those ICE agents have fired pepper balls at them.
Reporter Casey Cronus, Fox 32 in Chicago. Several protesters were taken into custody. Tear gas also used to try and disperse the crowd. America's listening to Fox News.
More great country music from the legends coming up right after Across the Line with James Collier right here on 105.7 WLGC.
Back inside the Octagon on Across the Line. Time for the Borders Sporting Goods Rant of the Week. Borders Sporting Goods US 60 in Cannonsburg for all your hunting and fishing needs, as well as those Liberty gun safes. See the great folks out of Borders Sporting Goods. They'll get you all squared away. Great sales going on right now on those Liberty gun safes. They've got all kinds of stuff from hunting and fishing on sale as well. Hey, we are 3 months and 5 days away from Christmas. And of course, they offer layaway. So if you're looking for that big ticket item or something for that avid outdoorsman that you want to get and need to be able to kind of keep it concealed until we get a little closer to the holiday season, go out there, put it on layaway, make those payments on it, and they'll take care of it until you get it from there. So But they are, bar none, the leader in this area for anything you need, from hunting, fishing, the reloading for guns and anything you need, they've got it. But out there in US 60 West in Cannonsburg, right across from the Kentucky State Police headquarters there for Post 14. Go see Brad in the gang. They'll get you all taken care of. A monkey can score 20% on a multiple choice test. Studies have shown if you give a monkey a 4-option multiple choice test, that you should be about 25% if you're doing the multiple guess, okay? On average, a monkey scored 20% on those tests. Well, I saw a story earlier this week that the state of California had passed a ruling about grades for kids in school. And they lowered the ability to score an A down to an 80%. That's right, 80%. You could still get a D at 21%. You're telling me if I score a 21%, that's good enough to consider passing? That's absurd. And I've said this for many years. I remember when I was in school, it was 95 to get an A. Some places in college, I even had a class in college that took a 96 to get an A. But in school, 95 to get an A. Okay? We've moved the grading scale to 90 to 100 is mostly accepted around most places across the United States as well. 90 to 100 gets you an A. 80 to 79 gets you that B. Then 70 to 79 gets a C. And I've been saying this, and as an educator, I say this as well. I think we keep softening up the grading standards to where what 30 years ago would have been considered average is now considered exceptional. And we wonder why the product that we continue to see within our society is one of those things that it's like, how is this so hard for you to understand what it is that you're supposed to do? Well, it's because it's not okay for people to fail in today's society. And I'm not saying that as we should be walking around as a bunch of failures. What I'm saying is that we never give people the ability to be able to fail, to learn how to make the changes for the mistakes that they do. And then they get into a place where they have to be able to make these changes. And in the process of doing so, they can't. And it just turns into an absolute meltdown because this person has never experienced failure. Well, you look at California, they're one of the largest, obviously, states for our economy. And their test scores are in the bottom third of the country. That's a problem, people. We need to stop softening everything up. We are worse than a piece of soft serve ice cream on a cone in 100 degrees in the desert. We are so stinking soft. And it's always making more excuses, more excuses, more excuses. Let's start trying to make some accountability. Let's force these things that we need to make a change in a positive light to where it's not okay to understand that if you score a 21% on something, that's considered passing. I'm sorry. If it ever goes to the, I'll put this in, if I ever have to give somebody a passing grade for 21%, that's when I will leave education. Because there is nothing there that is, if you score lower than 50%, it shouldn't even be in a conversation. But 20% considered passing. That's where we are in society. And I'm blown away, absolutely blown away that is even something. Now, it has been suspended, and they are looking into it about making some adjustments to it. But what adjustments are they going to make, honestly? Is it going to come up to 30%? I don't know. 60% failure, no chances. But 20%? That's a monkey. They can pull that off by guessing. Either way, that's a Borders Sporting Goods Rant of the Week. Big thanks to Travis Jones for joining me this morning for Greenup County Football. Enjoy the weekend, guys. It's going to be warm outside, but it should be a fun weekend of college football and NFL football. We'll be back with you next week. Hey, Ryder Cup coming up. It's going to be a fun week. Enjoy it. We'll talk to you next week. This has been Across the Line here on the Total Media Sports Network.
You've been listening to Across the Line with James Collier on 105.7 WLGC FM and the Total Media Sports Network. Tune in each Saturday morning beginning at 10 for the latest news and analysis from inside the Octagon of Sports on 105.7 WLGC FM, Greenup, Ashland, and the Total Media Sports Network.